Planning your next cruise and not sure whether you want to book your flights with the cruise line or do it on your own? Let's talk about the pros and cons of this. Hi, I'm Jack with Luxury Cruise Tips. So every time you take a cruise, you have to get there. Sometimes you can drive if it's in the US or if you're in Europe, but most of the times you have to fly there. Many of the cruise lines now will give you free air, discounted air, or just the ability to book your flights with them. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of what's best for you working directly with the cruise line, working with your travel professional. I think the biggest pro is it's just convenient. Either you or your travel professional, one phone call to the cruise line, tell them where you want to leave out of, boom, they do it for you. Okay, so that's really a great reason. Now there are other perks sometimes, such as free transfers between the airport and the cruise ship if you book Cruise Line Air. Silversea has their promotion where they're actually giving you limo transportation from your house to the airport you're flying to, back and forth if you book their door-to-door, which includes the Cruise Line Air. Some of the other cruises, such as Regent, will give you free pre- and post-hotel stays or packages if you're booking the Cruise Air package. To me, that's a really great option, a nice perk, and a reason to look at booking your flights with the cruise line. Another reason is just price. I mean, sometimes, like with Viking, they'll have a promotion and the airfare is included or discounted that you can't touch it on your own. Again, with Silversea, they have their door-to-door and the flights are included. Oceania. So I think what we're seeing is most of the luxury cruise operators will give you free air. Avalon has for 2024 discounted air. Waterways at times had free and discounted air on certain cruises. So again, some of this is just price that you just can't match it on your own. Now talking price, another pro is upgrades, premium economy and business class. Same issue is sometimes if you're booking the Cruise Line Air and you want the upgrade, sometimes Viking has $199 upgrades. If you try to book that on American, there's no way you can get a premium economy upgrade for $200 per person. Same thing with the business class air. I've seen Silversea have business class air for $2,500 upgrades. When I've tried to look at it myself, it's 2 or 3 times that. So sometimes when you look at the perk of the upgrade of the business class, either whether it's free like with Regent or you can buy it, the deal is much better in going through the cruise line. And I think one of the best reasons to do it is the responsibility is on them. If they book you on something and there's a misconnection or there's an issue with the airline, they're tracking it for you. So you can call. They're sometimes on top of, we've had issues where we missed a connection and they were working with the airline to book us. We had an issue once on a cruise that we got into a port late and the ship was being held for the group of us that were on the ship. Had I booked it on my own, I don't think they would have held it. So I think those are some of the pros of why you want to book the cruise line airfare. Now let's talk about some of the cons on why you may not want to book cruise line airfare and do it on your own. My number one reason would be they're not the flights you want. So let's say you have a specific airline, you have a lot of frequent flyer miles on, you have status, you get upgraded, you're trying with a credit card to get points. Many times I find that the cruise line has specific airlines within their free or discounted airfare promotion. And as soon as you say to them, I don't like that flight, or I want it on American, or I want it on whoever, then their typical answer is one of two things. One is, sure, we can do that, but it's not included, typically. So we have, number one, a deviation fee. I've seen deviation fees for between $150 and $250 per person. And then the fare differential. The problem I've seen with the fare differential is they may have this bulk buying power that on airline A they're included. It's so low. As an example, we were looking at something for Athens on Silversea, and it was included air, and they were willing to provide us an upgrade to what I wanted, but what they said was their air had a value of $900. For me to book the flights out of Philadelphia on American, the nonstop flight I wanted, was over $2,200, and that's just in coach. So I couldn't even get close to matching them. So what I ended up having to do is pay their deviation fee and pay the fare differential, and it was still less than me booking it on my own. It is a con that they didn't have what I want, but at the end of the day I became a pro because I booked it with them, it was convenient, and they were able to get me a slightly less rate, but when you factored in their credit, it was much better. Another con would be if you book it on your own, you may not qualify for their free pre and post promotion. So that's sometimes if they're giving you a free night hotel prior to the cruise or the free transfers, if you're not on their flights, you may not get that. So it's something to look at because if you want it, there's value to it in terms of the cost of the transfer, arranging your own taxi or car service or Uber, whatever it may be, and even just the hotels. So again, that may not be included if you're doing it on your own. Another con would be frequent flyer miles. A couple years ago, we took the free air with someone, we paid for the upgrade, and then about a month after I returned, I didn't see the frequent flyer miles in my account. And when I called the airline, what they said was the type of airfare the cruise line booked us on did not qualify for frequent flyer miles. Now, had someone told me that up front, I probably would have looked at doing my own because there were over 80,000 frequent flyer miles because it was a pretty far flight and it was in business class. The same thing is with the hotels. Sometimes when they book the hotels for you, you will not qualify for your loyalty points with Bonvoy or Hilton or some of the other chains. Now, the latest thing I've seen is there are some cruise lines that unless you book their specific air package, they may not give you accessibility to some of the higher end cabins. They may have some of the suites that can only be sold with their full air package. Again, as an example, Silversea has done this on their door-to-door. In order to get some of the suites, you have to book the door-to-door. But you can ask them for the credit on the air, but again, going back to my other issue, sometimes the credit is so minimal, you end up having to pay the upgrades deviation fees. So bottom line to me is when you were working with your travel professional or working with the cruise line and looking at the flights, rather than just immediately booking it with the flights, you want to talk to whoever you can and find out what flights are included. Do they have the schedule? Do they have the airlines? What are options if you don't get what you want, and how can you look at the deviation? So hopefully these thoughts, tips, are helpful to you as you plan your next cruise and you plan on flying there, whether booking on your own or with the airlines. Thanks for watching the videos.